Hey, this is Big Papa Pump Scott's Diner.
Yes, it is me, Gerald the Poupée.
Hey, this is Joe Gatto.
This is Eric Young.
Well, hello there. It's me, Harold the Puppet.
This is Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Ardano, and you are listening to Shootin' Poop.
Shootin' Poop.
The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Hey everyone, it's DDJ here, the 5-star trivia machine. On my left, you have the premier Joey K. As our friend John, who's joining us this week, called him Philadelphia's finest, and I want to know how much Joey K paid him to say that.
Too much.
6.
Was that 6 or sex?
6, both. Yeah, 6 sexes.
Hey, I mean, $20 is $20, man.
$20.
He ain't wrong that, and then
in this economy.
Yeah. And that guy that you see in the lower left-hand corner wearing that awesome throwback to my old show, What Do You Say with DDJ? That's Isaac from Such Good Shoot. And joining us also this week, we have a very special guest, friend of the show and promoter and owner of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling. And also, if you guys watch Impact, you might recognize him because he's been on there the last couple of weeks. So we're going to start calling him Impact Superstar John Bullard. John, thanks for joining us tonight.
I'm no superstar, but I mean, it's cool to be on Impact. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about this week. And I told you before we started recording, I'm so totally freaking jealous that you got to be in a segment with Joe Hendry because, you know, I'm a big fan of Joe Hendry. So,
and also Yuya Uemura from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. And he was also there with Yuya, who I got to meet at the last CCW show. And he's a very cool guy. And it's great to see him still there and stuff. So, but yes, we got a little bit of a thing here. Jovan's in the midst of a blackout down in Texas, and Sean's got work in the morning, so we got a couple more than capable fill-ins for these guys. But Joey K, are you ready to start the show?
Yeah, man. I'm ready for a minute and 51, 52,
53. Alrighty, then we'll wait no more. Here we go. That's right. Welcome to episode 99.
99?
Yeah, our 99th episode.
Shit. I'm still on episode 69, 420 of Such Good Shoot, man.
Oh, man, and stuff. So it's been a wild, crazy ride. And I mean, one of the guys that's been there with me since day one of this show is Joey K. And of course, I got to give a big shout out to him and thank you for being such a valuable part of the show, man.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that because we've been talking about like 100's coming up soon.
Yeah.
I'm
next.
Like, yeah,
it's next.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck, man, like that's a lot of shows.
I mean, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, man.
I know.
I remember you guys when you first started.
Grinding, man.
I mean, I barely remember that, but fuck.
I do. I remember it. I remember it very well. It was good. It was a good time. I was very happy for you.
I remember we did episode 0.
Yeah.
So technically, this is the 100th of actual episode.
But did we actually do episode? Was episode 0 an actual show that we aired, or did we just do it as a?
We put episode 0 out.
Okay, I couldn't remember. It's been so long ago.
So in hindsight, we just made a milestone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 100 of Shootin' Shit.
Oh my
Also
god!
known as episode 99.
Yeah.
99.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
No, I mean,
It's very exciting.
yeah, it's
No,
pretty cool.
honestly.
Of course, I hope we get to episode 100, but now that we're here, I'm like, well, fuck, all right,
Hey man,
we did that.
There's brownouts in Texas, so 100 isn't guaranteed quite yet. Even if you're counting correctly from 0.
We will get him in a fucking Holiday Inn somewhere with the Wi-Fi. He'll be here.
He'll
make it.
He'll make it. We'll make sure of it. Oh,
Poor guy. I how do you not have AC in Texas? This time of year?
That would fuck me up so bad.
Yeah, and he's not a tiny fella. He probably gets a little warmer than I do.
Shit. I mean, I'm right there with him. Like I fucking, goddamn, I don't know.
Yep.
I'm hoping this shit kicks on overnight though.
I hope so too, man. Sleep in that shit. I got my AC on, hopefully, so the cold air drops down from the top of the country, right down to the bottom there.
Oh yeah.
And he cools down a bit.
That's one of the benefits of doing the show down in the basement. What at least the way my setup is because it gets really nice and cool down here, especially when the air's on. So
also he has a piss bucket in the corner, so there's that.
Yeah, dog. Shit, man, my man. I've done that. I remember doing that one episode.
I mean, I
filling
remember.
a bottle.
Wait, you doing that, or was you talking Justin Credible doing that?
Well, Justin Credible took a shit while we were interviewing him. I pissed in a bottle just during a random episode. I wasn't doing that during like an interview or anything. I kept it respectful for those.
Keeping it classy, right?
Yeah, not like Mr. Incredible there. Jesus Christ, dude.
Methamphetamines is a hell of a drug.
I gotta say, to his credit, he showed up and he did the whole interview. So that's better than most people get with him.
Yeah, most people, he just takes money and disappears.
Yeah, most people they're like, here's the $30, and then he's gone. And but yeah, no, it was a fucking wild interview, but somehow it got deleted and all the bullshit from Pro Wrestling Junkies in the transfer over.
That's something I like. I fucking, that's one to keep. Like that's a fucking keeper.
I have a picture somewhere of him sitting on the toilet during the interview, but that's about it. Yeah, that's about all I got left. Is like the four of us or whatever, and him he's just sitting in his bathroom, and either that or he took a long sit down pee and he was being respectful about it. But he was in there a couple minutes, man.
You and I both know he was taking the shit.
Oh my god, it was so funny. It was so funny.
And
I was
crazy,
just trying to focus and not like lose complete composure.
As crazy as that was, nothing for me is ever going to compare to the Godfather cutting a promo on me.
Oh, dude, that was so good. That was so good. I love listening to the Godfather talk shit to you. That was great.
Yeah.
Like, what color suit was I wearing? Like, yeah.
So, all right. So you guys all watched SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what'd you guys think? Joey K, will start with you.
Fucking dud.
Really?
Yeah, I thought the whole show was just not good overall. There was good moments, but overall it was just not a good show to me.
Why? I'm just curious because you're one of the very few people that has had that kind of opinion that I've heard that's with that kind of opinion on the show.
This is why I didn't say anything in the group chat either. Like you were ready to fucking give a blumpkin to Vince McMahon for SummerSlam, and I'm like, I'm gonna shit on his fucking cereal.
Since when has that ever stopped you from shitting on something I say?
Yeah, no, that's true, but still.
So can I start by saying Logan Paul and Ricochet. What'd you think of that match?
I'll start. That's where I was going to start too. Is everyone's so hype on Logan Paul? That match didn't work that great to me. It started off real fucking weird and wonky, and towards the middle it got a little bit better. It just, you watch a match and you just look like somebody's out of control, and I was like, Logan Paul is like, you're doing too much risky shit for not really knowing what you're fucking doing yet.
Man,
like that's the vibe I got from that whole match.
He knows what he's doing.
I mean, like I give him that. Like they're not going to put him in the ring if he like, but does he know when he's like fucking taking shit with Ricochet though? Like you're gonna tell me Logan Paul's not the guy who's like, oh, I can do that too. I can do that too. And Ricochet's been not a lot of dudes can do what Ricochet does.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's trying to do as much. I think he's trying to keep it within his wheelhouse, and he always has a good. He's got like Shawn Michaels and those guys on his back practicing. But I mean, the thing that impressed me the most with him in that match was just how good he was at being a fucking smarmy little prick. Like he has really got the heel thing down fucking pat. I mean. One of the best natural heels I've ever seen in pro wrestling. Yeah. Just gets it from day one. And like when he realized that he can play it up, like the shit he was doing. I don't remember her name. What's the ring announcer's name?
Samantha Irvin.
Yeah, which is Ricochet's fiance. Yeah, and he was fucking with her hardcore, man.
Yeah.
Did you see that shit? Which was great.
Which was good
to it.
Absolutely.
It was good. I just don't think it was the best match that we've seen Logan Paul in, number one.
I'll agree with you on that, Joey K. I will agree.
Yeah,
and like it's like not comparing any of the performers, but that vibe of like you kind of were like, oh wow, this is probably going to be a really really amazing match, and it just didn't live up to that, and that was just more disappointing. It was like AJ and Shinsuke at WrestleMania. Like, oh, this is going to be the fucking. This is it. This is where the world goes, oh wow, this is what these two can do. And then the match was like,
what do you I mean, if you take it in the context of just being an opening match for a pay-per-view, like a big pay-per-view, and you take that anticipation out of it, does that change your like, because for me
that's hard too, because it was the opening match.
That's the thing is I thought for an opening match it got the crowd so hyped up for the pay-per-view. And I thought it did its job as an opening match. It did it perfectly. Was it the best match those guys have had together? No. Was it a good match? Yeah, it was good. It wasn't like the best, but it was better than average. I would take that. I would take that any day than anything I've watched from fucking basically any of the pay-per-views that we reviewed from 1997 up through mid to late 1998. Honestly, like there's nothing like it's wild, like to even like because that's all we've been doing is watching that shit, and like during the time I was like, oh, this is so good, and you go back and watch the actual wrestling in there, and it's so like it's when they actually do wrestle, like you can get some good matches. But most of the time, it's just rubbish, man. It's just trash. It's just fucking like the Vince Russo mindset at full fucking, turned up to 11. And yeah, I don't know. Like this, like I said, like it's all perspective. But this one for what it was, like I think it deserves, at least 3 stars in the SGS rating system. I liked it. It got me hot for the pay-per-view. Ricochet is incredible. I mean, that guy is fucking ridiculous what he can do with his body. And Logan Paul's pretty fucking nuts too. I do think it's badass that he managed to get out of there after that win, get on his private jet, and walk his brother to the ring.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think that's why they came out and said that. That's why they opened with that match was so that he could pull that off.
He had asked if that was possible, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. Go for it.
Well, I mean, the best part of that match for me was Ricochet getting a shine of like he just opened SummerSlam.
Yeah,
in a singles match.
I love him.
Because it's he one of the big 4 shows, and
Prince Puma for life, bro.
Hell yeah.
Big Lucha Underground.
It's one of the big 4 shows, and like he gets a singles match on it, and not just that, he does open the show with it,
and
really cool.
Not just that, but he gets it against a legitimate, bona fide like superstar. Not like wrestling. Not WWF superstar, but like global superstar. Like like having a match against a guy like that and a good one, like that's a good rub for you. Like regardless of the outcome.
He also proved that he's safe to work with, and you can depend on him, which is a major plus. As a wrestling promoter, we look at our wrestlers and we critique them on, okay, you can have a great match with a wrestler, sure, but can you have a great match with a non-wrestler and get the crowd into it? That is a difference from a wrestler and a worker.
Yep.
Ricochet's a worker.
Yeah, fucking incredible one too, man.
I mean,
how awesome!
I'll watch Ricochet do anything. So
And one thing
thing's huge.
And the one thing that really sold me is Samantha Irvin is an amazing ring announcer, and I think she just proved it, because that was awesome. Like how at the end, like Logan Paul's hanging around, like, all right, come on, you gotta do it, and you could just tell like she had that look, like, I don't want to do this, I don't. And it's just, so, I mean, we got to give a shout out to Samantha Irvin, because I think she's proving her versatility. She proved some of her versatility.
She's really good at what she does. I do not understand the hate for her, unless it's just fucking people who don't like women or don't like people of color, because it doesn't fucking make any sense. Like, she's so good at what she does, and
as a ring announcer myself, I could tell you straight up, she's one of the best ring announcers I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's incredible. Like, she's legitimately incredible. I mean, you got Howard Finkel, who's up there, and he's just, I mean, he's an industry standard. But then you have like everyone else is trying to be him, like for generations, and like
like you have Kimmel.
And like you had guys. I mean, WCW was lucky, and they had fucking Michael Buffer or whatever.
Michael Capetta, and then he had
Gary
David
Michael
Penzer.
Capetta. Massey Penzer was their longest running ring announcer.
Yeah.
Which I actually got a privilege of working with him at Impact.
That's
so
awesome.
Penzer's a great guy.
Yeah, but they had Buffer for like their main events, which was always the craziest thing. Yeah. Now what, his brother does UFC still, right?
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce still does. Yeah, I believe so.
Crazy.
And that they didn't know they were brothers for a long time, right?
No.
Yeah, Michael Buffer was actually adopted.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And wait, they were both doing the same thing and they didn't even know, or did that?
No,
it did.
No.
Once he found out it was his brother, he got him the job.
No. So, long story short, I get off this topic, but Michael started ring announcing when he was 38 years old. He was a male model for a very long time for catalogs and different companies. But then he started going to casinos and seeing boxing shows, and he's like, I got a pretty good voice. Why don't I do this? And he's looking at these old guys that are ring announcing, and he's like, well, here I am, like this good-looking guy. He's got that James Bond type thing to him. He's like, you know what? I want to start championing myself as this. And he started going to the different boxing promoters as, hey, I'm the James Bond of ring announcers. He's always well-dressed, and his hair was always immaculate, and the pretty girls always around him. Like he knew he was a gift to women, and freaking he owned it. Years later, his brother sitting on the couch with his father in Malibu, California. His father looks at his brother and say, by the way, that guy you see on TV has the same last name as ours. He's like, yeah. He said, that's your brother. And he's like,
wow.
He's like, what? And he's like, yeah, that's your adopted brother. And he's like, he's your real life brother, but me and the mother got divorced, and he went to live with the grandparents, and and the thing is about Michael never held a grudge against his father about it, not once. He's like, oh, it happened at school. Like the Buffers are both like so down to earth and so cool about stuff. So Michael and Bruce met. Bruce was a businessman all the way through. Bruce understood like legalities and paperwork. And so Bruce told Michael, he's like, all your catchphrases, all the stuff you're doing, have you trademarked this? No.
Yeah.
He's like, let me help you get that trademarked. So his brother went out of his way to protect Michael's best interests.
Yeah.
And so they started working together. Michael,
so basically Bruce took over as his manager at that point.
Very much so, yeah.
Trademarked. You can't say "Let's get ready to rumble" in that way.
No,
without fucking paying them.
He will own you for that.
Yeah, and if he says it, does he still charge like 10 grand every time he says the fucking thing?
For a Michael Buffer appearance at any events, $30,000 on up.
Yep.
Wow. And he gets it every time because he's worth it. Because he's a celebrity in his own rights.
That's so wild. Imagine getting paid 30 grand plus for let's get ready.
Hold on. Personally, I'm more of a Bruce Buffer fan because I don't know if you guys ever saw Bruce Buffer does Cameo.
Oh, yeah.
And fucking there was one that somebody did for a breakup. And they straight had him fucking UFC style announce a breakup.
It's time.
Yeah. No, he was like,
get
the
over. Fuck out of here.
Like he ended with, it's over. And I was like, fuck, that is so harsh, but God, that is amazing at the same time.
Is that video out there? Because I would love to see it.
You can search it up, and I suggest you do because it's fucking great.
Well, I know what I'm doing after we're done recording.
What? Getting a cameo of Bruce Buffer? Break up? What are you
No, I'm just gonna watch the video. I'm gonna try to find the video.
No, it's different from what videos I'm gonna look at when we're done.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, whatever you're doing
first of all, they're people and not animated. So there's that.
Hentai.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. You know.
Hey,
Right.
there. I'm not judging. I'm about it. Let's go.
Let's do it.
So-
Man.
Different strokes for different folks, man.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
there you
right.
go.
The left-handed or the right-handed.
So anyway, back to SummerSlam.
Yes.
Yeah. So the whole show. I'm still, my mind's blown that you didn't like this. What'd you think of
The
Shane?
show? All right, I'll just get it out because I've been yapping on about this for a while now. So, there were segments and moments. I thought the fucking main event finish, like, okay, yeah, they're gonna keep dragging the storyline on, but this kind of back and forth, they have to have a little bit more of a reprieve from it. It's this constant who's turning on who's turning on who. Gotta let that simmer some. That didn't set well with me. The Cody Brock match was decent. Okay, cool. Nice moment at the end. All right, better. Mostly I'm a little bit salty about fucking, the women getting cut off the show.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, including them, rightfully so. That's kind of bullshit, but and what they did feature, I mean, I get it. You're gonna have to feature Ronda Rousey, but that fucking match was a dud. Can we stop doing the fucking, MMA rules in WWE bullshit? Because that doesn't work. Like, it's not like the fucking old days, man. Mixed martial arts is a very, very, very popular sport. You can see what's real and what's not real. Like, you can't really fucking pretend to have an MMA fight. You either do it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that shit didn't settle well with me. What else was even on there? Fuck, I'm lost.
We went. You got Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes already. You got the Slim Jim Battle Royale.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome that Gable got shine out of it. Or he got his spot because it's still going. But LA Knight winning, fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The thing about that Rumble too, if you actually watch that, there was a lot of storytelling going on for different wrestlers in that Rumble. Gable eliminating all the Imperium members.
Yeah,
and
is a story of him going after Gunther for the Intercontinental title, like
which we're gonna see
coming off of the whole 5-minute challenge match. That's what I'm saying. Like that,
they're making a new star out of him, man. They're making a complete single star out of Gable, which is about time.
I said this on SGS, and this was a long time ago, and it might have been on one of the super shows we did, but we were talking about after Gunther, who should be the next IC champion, who should take it from him, and I said Gable. I said Gable like a year and a half, 2 years ago. because honestly, he is probably the best wrestler, technician, fucking worker in that company. The guy is incredible at everything he does, and he needs a legitimate shot, not a goofy shot, not a fucking this or that shot. Like, he needs a shot at being himself, and he can be funny, but he should have a shot at being a fucking wrestler.
He's been proving lately. In fact, that whole group, Alpha Academy, they've been proving they can not only be serious, they can be entertaining, they can go. I mean, Maxine Dupree is, she's still a work in progress, but I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting out of her what we've gotten out of her when she's been in the ring, and stuff.
No. And I mean, Gable's always been that guy. Like, you go back to him and
Jason Jordan.
And Jordan in NXT.
The American Alpha.
Oh, man. What a tag team. Like, that worked so much better than it had any right to. Mm-hmm. And it was all because of just how charismatic Gable was.
Yeah.
Like, it was the only thing that, like, I think won fans over was him constantly breaking Jordan and making him fucking laugh and smile, because you're just like, yeah, I feel the same thing, dude. You're like, you wanted to hate him at first, but he was so fucking funny and charming that you're like, yeah, I love this guy. And like, you can't help but like him. And he's got that certain something, and I hope he gets that title. I hope Gunther breaks the honky tonk record, and then
he's got about like 4 weeks left.
I'd love to see Gunther just break the honky tonk man.
Yeah, that too. That too would be great.
Take that, Elvis.
Okay, first off, fuck that guy. But he is responsible for one of the fucking most comedic things of pro wrestling ever, and him doing the fucking commentary in that fucking battle royal, like was it at Mania one year, whatever it was. He is just such a fucking train wreck, man. The unintentional comedy of that ridiculous human being. Love that. Look it up. fucking YouTube that shit and not piss yourself laughing at that coked out fucking wild nightmare of fucking commentary.
Man.
Yeah. So John, to give us some of your thoughts on SummerSlam, and then I want to give my thoughts, and then we can move on.
Honestly, like, I didn't see anything wrong with it as a former wrestler and a promoter and a guy in the business. The Ricochet match with Paul, it served its purpose. Paul was supposed to get his heat. He wanted people to hate him. In the end, people love Ricochet. In the end, people were like, I hope Ricochet kicks his ass. For the first time in a long time, people actually cared about Ricochet more than just, the guy who does cool flips. It was like, I hope he actually kicks, Logan Paul's ass, So it did its job. It wasn't supposed to be the world's greatest match. It was supposed to be, let's get heat on Paul. Let's get the fans cheering for Ricochet. Keep building up. I don't think this is not the last match they'll have against each other. I think this is going to turn into a series, which is going to be really fun to watch.
It's probably going to end at Mania.
Oh, yeah. More likely. Yes.
Yeah.
I think the Battle Royal served its purpose of telling multiple stories.
Mm-hmm.
The Chad Gables, coming after Gunther's Intercontinental title reign, looking pretty good. LA Knight. What I love about what they're doing with LA Knight, by the way, my boy Eli Drake from way back in the days, his whole character is not a babyface or a heel. He's not really even like an anti-hero. What I love about him is he's a fighter. You ever watch like his matches? Like, he'll do whatever it takes to win the match.
He's scrappy.
If he hits you with a chair, he's gonna poke your eyes out, hit you a low blow. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to do it because he's a fighter, and people love that.
People often compare him to The Rock, and I get that promo style, but he's much more like Stone Cold in his character.
Yes.
I agree. He's more Stone Cold than he is Rock.
But I mean, the thing is, that's just him being himself.
Yep.
He was like that all the way up the independent days. This is how he is. So it works. I think his music really works too. Man, it's kind of got that little Grand Theft Auto, LA, California-esque feel to him. People who dig that stuff, I dig it. And his music hits, you're like, hell yeah. it's going to be a good time because he comes out. He's always entertaining. He's always has been.
He's overcome everything they've put in his way, including just one of the worst names of all time in LA Knight.
But it works. But the thing is, now everybody loves that name.
Everybody loves. When I saw that he was going to NXT, and I saw they were changing his name from Eli Drake to LA Knight, I'm like, God damn it, this is gonna suck.
It sounds like a hockey team.
But you know what though? But the way he made me fall in love with that name, because back in the day he used to go Eli Drake. He basically changed that to LA Knight and made that work. And he's about as over as any, if not more over than anybody else in the company and stuff right now. And it's just, it's a great story.
The women's MMA match, I don't really hate on it. I know the purpose of it. It was to get Shayna Baszler over. Shayna, in my opinion, has been one of my favorite women wrestlers in a long time. Someone who I think should have been pushed a long time ago because she's believable. This is the only woman trained in catch wrestling by Josh Barnett of UFC fame. The only certified catch wrestler, submission wrestler, and pro wrestling as a female. She's legit as a heart attack. In real life, she wanted to whoop your ass. She'd whip your ass with one hand tied behind her back. She's a heart attack, real as it gets type of wrestler. So her being the only woman to actually tap out Ronda Rousey, the only person to do that, gives her credibility as a performer because people will look at that and say she's the only one who done it. You can say what you want, boring match, whatever, but I understood the concept of why they did that. And then you watch Monday Night Raw when she came out, instantly everybody looked at her opponent like, she's going to beat the hell out of you. Like, it works.
And the one thing that I really took from that is I wasn't a big fan of the match, but I know it's a different style and it's a much harder type of match to pull off and stuff. But I thought that ending it ended the way it should have, like said, so with her tapping out. That's like the one big thing I took away from that match. But I also go I think throughout this whole storyline, they were trying to position Ronda to be the baby face of this story. But if you listen to the promos and the reactions, when
fans were all for Baszler,
they were, because I think they saw right through it and stuff, and it's just they were, and it's the promos Shayna cut in that were, were real.
I've been waiting for this match since both of these women were in the company.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been such a no fucking brainer since day one. I mean, in the fact that they did it this way, and that Ronda's out. I mean, it should have been at least like a three-part series, like something. It should have been way bigger. It should have served the purpose of making Shayna the baddest fucking female wrestler on the planet.
Yeah,
but I mean, this did sort of do that as best as I think Ronda's capable of doing. And, Shayna has been fucking given a raw deal since day one with that fucking vampire bullshit when she first came on the fucking roster.
On the main roster, yep.
Because in NXT, they treated her perfectly. She was incredible in NXT. She was exactly what she should be.
Mm-hmm.
They treated her right. And then she came up and they were like, well, let's make her a vampire for a day. And, it was just like they didn't know what to do with her because she's too fucking badass. And seeing her get that win over someone like Ronda Rousey, who every wrestling fan knows has more pull than most other people in the back. And so that regardless, like if Ronda did that, she did it because she wanted to help her friend or, get over. And, credit to her because she's not genuinely been very good for the business, I don't think. Like, at least, she's gotten some eyes on it, but she hasn't done, what Logan Paul, say, has done for the business.
What Bad Bunny's done.
Even more so. God damn, dude. I'll be even listening to some of that shit now. But yeah, that match was something I've been waiting for a long time. And honestly, it didn't disappoint. I mean, I didn't expect it to be anything incredible. I expected it to be hard hitting. I expected it to be some catch wrestling. And yeah, I was hoping that it would not be a fucky finish. And yeah, Shayna fucking beat her ass. And it was great. I don't know.
I think the main event, or Brock versus Cody. What I like about that one was it actually made Cody look like a fighter. I think the Seth Rollins match when Cody ripped his pectoral should have made everybody respect the hell out of Cody, because Cody couldn't. Any other guy would have been like, "Yeah, I can't wrestle. Look at me." He's like, "Look the injury I got," and he's like, "No, we're gonna do this."
He couldn't have heard it anymore, so he just like fuck it.
Do you think they would have let anyone else wrestle besides Cody in that situation?
Maybe a handful, but not.
I mean, it's a really short. It's a really short list.
Yeah, we're talking like Rollins himself, Randy Orton, like that level. Rollins, Orton, fucking
top level guys.
Yeah,
very top level.
Your constant fucking top level main event guys will be the only ones they would do.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, even on the current roster, I don't think there's many guys they would trust with that.
But
John Cena, they would have. Undertaker, of course, they would have anytime.
What I liked about the Brock versus Cody match, what a coming of age story, though, if you think about it. Two guys who kind of came up through the OVW system, both had to leave the wrestling company years later, go find their own paths, just to come back to the company and then main event, and their own times, being the guys that they became. And for this match to happen, and for the moment that Brock shook his hand, which when they had the press conference, they asked Triple H about that, and Triple H legit said it. It was like, that wasn't planned.
No,
that was when Brock did that. That is a massive sign of respect.
Did you see what Cody said about it?
Yeah.
Cody said in that moment he thought Brock was about to swing on him. He's like, when he got nose to nose, he's like, "Fuck, he's gonna swing on me."
Yeah, like how are we gonna do this giant vanilla gorilla? This beats the hell out of you.
He's like, he's like, he doesn't. Yeah, he's like, he doesn't shake your hand and give you a hug after a match. It's like if he's getting in your face, he's like, fuck, man. And you saw it on Cody's face, and I think that was like the moment of the night. Is that look on Cody's face, like when Brock has his hand in the air, and Cody's just like, he's like, looks like a little kid again, like smiling ear to ear, because he's like, holy shit, I thought I was about to get my ass kicked, and here I am. And it was a great moment. I like that match. I love Brock Lesnar. Every day, Brock Lesnar more and more becomes my favorite wrestler of all time.
I honestly thought that match between Cody and Brock was the best of the trilogy.
Oh yeah, and as it should be. As your final match. Your final match should always, your very first match in a series should be the beginning of the story. Beginning of the story, you don't give them the entire fireworks show. I tell this to young wrestlers when I do seminars and I teach them stuff, or I talk about match structures and how it's important. A good wrestling show is like going to a fireworks show. When you go to a fireworks show, the very first thing you see in a fireworks show is boom. It's one firework. Boom. Instantly, that grabs your attention. Then boom, boom. Then boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, it keeps building and building and building until you get to the final display. And it's like, holy, shit, this is amazing. I'm seeing all these cool colors and all these different effects and stuff. That's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling's the same way. When pro wrestling is done right, it's a fireworks show.
I always think of it as like a Jackie Chan movie, right?
Yeah,
where like you have your hero, you have your bad guy. They go against each other maybe once, and the bad guy whoops his ass, and you're like, shit, this guy can't do it. And then they have some other challenges sometimes, and finally work your way back up, and all of a sudden you're back in a position where you're fighting your nemesis again with everything you got. And like, sometimes those are the stories that are most compelling, and this one has been great. Watching Cody,
it's a coming of age story for him. This whole return has been nothing but a coming of age.
Basically, what Isaac, you were just saying, that basically describes a lot of the Rocky movies when you think about it. I mean, you look at the first Rocky, he was someone kid that just got plucked out of obscurity and thrown into this. Nobody thought he had a chance. He went the distance with Apollo, lost the match, but then that made what happened in Rocky 2 when he beat him for the title even that much sweeter. And then you look at Rocky 3, like when he lost to Clubber Lang, And then, he hooked up with Apollo, and Apollo trained him, and he beat him at the end to redeem himself. It's just,
You do know where Sly Stallone learned to do that, don't you?
Where's that?
Pro wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Here's another cool little trivia facts. Sly Stallone's mother was a wrestling promoter in New York City.
Whoa.
So he grew up his entire life around professional wrestling. That's why when he had Hogan to be in the Rocky movie as Thunderlips, it was so cool for him because he always loved wrestling. Terry Funk.
And over the top too was chock full of wrestlers, and that's how Godfather got into the business, because he was he worked at the bar as a bouncer, and him and Hulk Hogan's limo driver, I think at the time, like he got him into like smoking weed and shit, and it was like a whole fucking crazy chain of events, but it was all like around Sly Stallone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's always It's so cool when you find out like how people's like true like family history is. You're like, really? Like, well, shit, that makes a lot of sense.
And storytelling, and that's it's the basis of storytelling. Like if your hero goes out and the first thing he does is like John Cena Super Saiyan and like wins every match, like there's no story to tell there. Like what's the story? Like you can either tell the story that he's Goldberg and he's undefeatable, and that only has one ending, which is he gets defeated, because you can't just go forever with that. Or you have to start from like, a lower thing. I remember when they did that with Sheamus. Do you remember way back? Sheamus was on a hot streak and he ended up like just losing to the point where like he had a match where it was, if he loses this match, he gets fired from WWE. And it was like he was like so bad, and that was like the beginning of rebuilding Sheamus, like after like a bunch of bullshit. And it was just like, like sometimes you have to just beat the fuck out of someone and like give somebody a reason to care about them.
Yeah. So a couple more things on SummerSlam. What do you guys think of the women's title match and what happened afterwards?
Oh, I liked it. Yeah, you're talking about the Io Shirai? Good call, man.
Cashing in and Io Sky, but like the match itself, and then Bianca getting the win, and then Io cashing in and stuff. And the one thing I really loved it, and especially it's even cooler when you hear the backstory, was Dakota Kai showing up to be there for the big win. I don't know if you guys saw the story recently, bro. Like she talked about like getting there, like how she didn't find out till I think it was like 1:00 that afternoon that, hey, we want you there because this is what's going down, and she managed to do it.
That's awesome.
No, I think it's a interesting story how every SummerSlam is kind of like Bianca's curse. If you think about this, like Becky Lynch, pulls a big upset victory on her
2 years ago.
Bianca wins about a SummerSlam, and all of a sudden she gets a cashed in on her.
Yeah,
I mean it's cool for character development. It's like that's that one. Like every wrestler certain has like a certain pay-per-view where they're like that's their game, and there's another one where it's like you're kind of like batting, below 300 here. I
feel like Undertaker at SummerSlam was like that. Like he would win every Mania and get fucking beaten up every SummerSlam.
Yeah, always.
Yep.
No, I thought it's a good call. Io deserves it. She's worked her ass off over the years. She's really good.
The crowd definitely loved it.
Her versus Asuka in a series of matches is going to be fun to watch because her and Asuka can go, man.
Oh my god!
I watch that stuff in Japan between them. It's a chef's kiss. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I thought the main event, the Usos, with Roman. It's of course you're telling more of a story. I'm interested because I'm trying to think, did the feud with Roman with the Usos, did it start with Jimmy or Jay?
Started with Jay, because Jimmy was hurt at the time, I believe.
That's what I thought. But who I actually think will be the one who actually dethrones Roman?
Solo.
Think about a silent killer. He hasn't taken almost no pinfall losses whatsoever. If he did, it's very rare.
Oh, he's probably the most protected wrestler on the whole roster.
There's a reason why they're protecting him.
Well, and it's like you kind of notice the interactions Roman had with Solo. Like even Roman seems kind of weary or whatever around Solo. There were like a couple times where like he bumped into, I think, Solo, and he kind of looked like, and almost had that, oh, my bad look, when Solo stared him down.
Because what they're building up Solo is the killer.
Yep.
Out of all of them, he's the one who would that like Roman's character knows, like, if I screw up, he's going to put the bullet back in my head. Like, there's no doubt this is the stone cold killer out of the whole family. Like, this is the
he's got
badass. It's not going to. Oh, dude, and he's such a sweetheart in real life, but also like all the Samoan wrestlers you meet them, they're like the nicest guys in the world, but you don't want to fuck with them. It's like I'm not going to get my head beat into the ground by you guys. That's why I'm on your side,
Yes. Can I get you another? Can I get you another beer?
Yeah. It's legit nicest people on earth, but also legit most scariest dudes in the world when they get riled up. It's like I am not going to win this.
Don't fuck with that family.
Yeah.
No.
So a lot of people have been kind of shitting on the finish of the match and stuff, and for me, I think the story has been good enough to the point where I want to see where they go with Jimmy to, like, before I pass judgment on what happened at SummerSlam, because I'm not one of those ones that's like, oh, this is crap. I'm interested to see, and WWE has done enough, I think, to warrant, like, okay, let's explain why this happened. Let's tell the story of why Jimmy did what he did. And
you want my prediction?
What's that?
My prediction is going to turn into a fatal 4-way between all four of them. But I think in the end, all three of them will end up turning on Roman in that match, where all of them be like, you know what, this is our chance. There's three of us, and there's just him. Like, it's time to put him down, put him to rest. And I think that's the perfect way to do it, because now instead of like, oh, I'm the head of the game, I'm the head of the table, I'm the head of the family. Now the rest of the family's like, nah, dude, you've been evicted. Your spot's now gone. And it's good for Roman, because like Roman could take this loss. Let's Solo beat him. You got the 2 super kicks from the brothers, and then that big spike from Solo. Boom, 1, 2, 3. You still got Roman looking strong, because it took 2 big finishers to put him down from 3 guys.
Right.
And that would look good. And Solo, could easily carry that belt. He's a believable looking killer. They already protected him very well.
Especially if he's got,
believe that.
Especially if he's still got Paul Heyman over his shoulder.
And here's the thing. Paul, middle of that 4-way, could be the one he's like, if people remember, Paul has a history of kind of swerving guys he's managed before. Remember Brock Lesnar, and he swerved years ago.
CM Punk on the ladder.
CM Punk, yeah. It's time to do the same for Roman. He sees the writing on the wall. My tribal chief is back against the wall, and well, I'm a businessman, and I know where my next meal ticket's at. Solo, how you doing?
I still want to see a series between the brothers, though. I'd love to see at least 3 between.
Oh yeah, because it's just like the Briscoe brothers. Anybody see 2 brothers fight each other, they just beat the hell out of each other.
Oh yeah. God, that Briscoe brothers cinematic match they did.
Oh, it was great
on the farm.
Yes. With Papa Briscoe.
The best cinematic match that anyone did during that whole fucking time, man. The only one that I was like, yes, this is how it should be done. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Well, yeah, I like SummerSlam, all right. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good show. I was entertained.
I was too.
I love Lesnar. Lesnar is the GOAT. The guy's incredible. Everything he's done, he's the most realistic wrestler out there. Like, he's the one guy that every time he goes in there, you're like, yeah, he might actually fucking beat the shit out of somebody. It's like, it's bad enough he fucking worked Jericho, bro, by busting open Orton when he was supposed to do it. Right, like that's how good he is. I mean, honestly, he's like, I love Lesnar, man. That guy is,
and that one gesture that he did afterwards, that wasn't playing what he did with Cody, shaking his hand, hugging him, raising his arm in the air. I remember watching that. I didn't watch it live because I was at a baseball game that while SummerSlam was on, and so I watched it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this right here I think this did just as much, if not more, for Cody Rhodes as that match did. In terms of like his credibility and and the character and stuff. I was so in awe of that because you've never seen that from Brock.
The only thing he's done that it's happened with him in WWE that's more important and impactful for his career was that Hell in a Cell match with the pectoral muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that alone is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And if he didn't earn your respect and admiration with that match, then you're not a wrestling fan. And I genuinely think that was a moment. I mean, people were excited that he came back at Royal Rumble or whatever. Was it Rumble or Mania that he came back?
Rumble.
Yeah, he came back at Rumble, and then
Are you talking about from the injury?
No. When he came back from AEW.
Oh no, that was Mania.
Yeah, he showed up at Mania, which was an incredible moment, and I think that it wouldn't have taken too long for fans to sour on him. Because fans are fucking they didn't like him in AEW towards the end, but you show up for a match in that condition, and you're like, yeah, not only am I going to show up and do it, but I'm going to put on one of the best matches of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fuck, man, like it added so much intensity to that fucking match, and yeah, like if you can make it through that. And it's like Mick Foley, there's like some things that you do it for the fans with your body that you shouldn't. And everyone recognizes it. And you'd be like, okay, I appreciate you, man. You're cool. You're a good dude. Like, like there's just some things that as a wrestling fan, you have to step back from whatever bullshit opinions you have and say, I respect that. I respect you for that. That's incredible. And that was one of those moments.
Yeah. So, all right. So definitely enough SummerSlam talk. We're already 50 minutes into the show here.
Killing it, dude.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have John on today is because if any of our shooters out there watch Impact Wrestling, which you really should, you'd probably recognize John because he's been on the last couple of weeks. In fact, like I said, he was on this week with one of my favorites, Joe Hendry and stuff. And John, talk a little bit about like how this whole thing with Impact came to be and what it's been like for you working with Impact.
Doing work with Impact has been amazing. Great company. They treat everyone really well when you go to work for them. It's professional all the way through. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their jobs. And some people in the company has more than just one. There's a lot of people. Some wrestlers included wears more than one hat. So it's one of those companies that I feel like deserves the attention that I think some people still like to think of TNA with Dixie Carter and how bad she screwed up stuff and not give Impact Wrestling a chance. Impact Wrestling today is 10 times better than what it was 10, 15 years ago. They have a great roster, super talented. Anybody who's a Ring of Honor fan or
that
a fan
roster is incredible.
Dude, that roster's full of badass athletes that can.
They got Heath on there. Heath Slater, man.
Dude, Heath is and on Impact, he's really showed the world like everyone slept on this guy because it's like he's good. He's always been good.
And he's one of like the most genuine and like kind and like charming people you'll ever meet. Like I swear to God, he's like of all the people I've interviewed, I'm like, I just want to go and like him and Godfather, like are just like they're people that you are so naturally like charismatic that you can't help but like them if you spend any amount of time talking to them.
When he bumped into me, like we don't even know each other. He didn't know I was like a wrestling promoter, former wrestler, He just thought of me as like, oh, here's a guy working in production. Setting up the arena, setting up for television, doing all this extra work. And nope, he treated me like me and him were just two old Appalachian boys shooting a breeze. Cool. And I'm from Kentucky, he's from West Virginia, so we had that in common. Growing up in the hills, and he was just walked up and said, "Oh man, how's it going?" I was like, "Brother," And I think when he heard you call him brother, he was like, "Yeah, you're Southern too." He's like, "Yeah, brother, I'm doing good, man. Blessed as blessed can be." And he's like, Yeah, man, same here, man. That's the best way to be in life, isn't it? We just started talking. It was just like two old buddies just bumping into each other.
I'm so glad he's
great
there.
guy.
I'm so glad he's there because when I talked to him, he was still before he had signed with them. And I was like, I don't get it. I still wanted him. He's the chosen one. He's the one who needs to go back and win the WWE title.
Dude, and he's in phenomenal shape.
He's the only one from three-man band that hasn't won it.
It's a shame, dude, because in my opinion, he's just as good as Drew McIntyre. He's just as good.
Yeah. I have
in the ring, that guy.
I have so much love for him, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to hear more about.
Yeah.
Talk to us more, John.
It's really good. So to give like a little hindsight, what it's kind of like, the days of working with Impact Wrestling. So if you are part of the extra crew, or you also help with production, you help do all the setup for the arena. What's really cool about it is, so Wednesday and Thursday is kind of like setup days for television, because Friday, Saturdays are TV days. So you got usually about 2 to 3 giant semi trucks that shows up to the arena, and you have to unload all these crates, all these boxes. And first day is mainly all for the lights. So think about that. Your entire day from 9 a.m. to almost like 8 o'clock at night is setting up this entire building. And, you take anything from an arena to a gymnasium. If it's a gymnasium, by the time you're done with it, it looks like a TV arena, the way we do everything. And the light setup, setting up the stage, the giant Tron screen, the LED light boards, which is really cool to see how that's actually put together, the curtains, everything they do. Anybody who has never really done production work, anybody who's never really set up for a televised wrestling show, guys who don't understand that life, I want everyone to at least do it once. Because when you see how a show is set up, these big pay-per-views or TV tapings, and you see the big Tron screens and the circular light fixture where all the lights are hanging off, and it's got all the laser effects and stuff. If you ever had to set up something like that, and you're drenched in sweat, and you're constantly working, it makes you appreciate the production people 10 times, even more, who do this 300 days a year on the road, because that's not an easy job, and it's a very physical job at that. But I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed being with the team, learning how to set up the arena properly, doing things for television, know where everything's going. It's phenomenal. And then, of course, Friday, ring set up, and you get things prepared for the show. And Friday, Saturdays when magic happens, and everyone works hard. Everybody there is putting their best foot forward to give the fans who paid for their tickets the best show possible. And those television tapings, man, I'm telling you, those cats, they go hard, and they make sure by the time that event's over with, you get your money's filled and your money's worth. And the autograph sessions and the meet and greets and all the little things that they do for their fans. Impact Wrestling is one of those promotions that legit gives a damn about the wrestling community. They actually care about the fans who never left them, the ones who were okay being mocked for being Impact Wrestling fans. Because let's be honest, there's some pro wrestling fans that are douchebags that are, oh man, you like Impact? And you're like, have you ever really watched Impact the last 10 years? Have you actually watched Impact the last 3 years? I mean, the last 3 years, they've been killing it. Like I said, they have a roster full of guys that were on Ring of Honor. They have people from AAA, a lot of old school ECW originals. They have a little bit of everything that, as a wrestling fan, you should be like enjoying. You're like, oh my god, they give you the best. Their women's division, in my opinion, the knockout division is better than all the women's divisions in wrestling right now.
Absolutely,
I think they're better than AEW. No offense, AEW, but they are. And the WWE maybe is the closest thing to them as a rival when it comes to a television product.
They got some incredible wrestlers on that roster.
Absolutely.
But it's also, you're also talking about $1 billion company.
Yeah.
So it's like, if your women's roster, if your roster is stacked compared to that, then you're doing great, man.
Yeah. He really, really big on Impact. October 21st, 22nd, the Bound for Glory show comes to Chicago again, Cicero Stadium, ImpactWrestling.com. Get your tickets. It's well worth it. I am looking forward to seeing the show and seeing everybody there. I would also like to say Joe Hendry was a blast to work with. Him and my good friend, me and my good buddy Yuya Uemura, who's also been entangled with him in the storyline. It was great seeing him again. And it's kind of funny because when I saw Yuya, I didn't know he would like recognize me from the show. Of course, like you book someone, but this guy's constantly always on the road. So he sees 1,000 promoters all the time. But he stopped, and at first he looked over, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he stopped again. He's like, oh, he got it from his chair, and he like ran over and gave me and my wife a hug, and so talking to us, like, "Oh, how you doing? How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, really good, Yuya." And he's like, "Oh, you working here?" I'm like, "Yeah, kind of." And he's like, "Oh yeah, great to see you, man." The next thing I know, they're like, "Hey, your wife, we got a segment. We need you guys for something." And in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, me and my wife, and I've been watching Impact a lot, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do something with Joe Hendry. Like, because Joe Hendry does like the whole marriage counseling, little like, say his name and he appears, It's,
Believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah, fucking clap.
That's awesome.
I love that guy, but he pops up right behind you, like, oh shit. Yeah, it's great. It was great, man. Great experience. Sometimes in the world of wrestling, you just want to pinch yourself because it's like, am I really doing this? Like, am I really here? Like, I tell people this all the time, man. When I was in 8th grade, I had a school teacher named Miss Leek, Leek, by the way. And I remember she was asking everybody in class, like, what do you want to do when you become an adult? And everybody's like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Me, I was like, I want to be in professional wrestling. Like I was the only kid like had aspirations to leave this little country town I grew up in. I want to be a pro wrestling. And she looked at me and she said, that's nice, but that's just a pipe dream that probably will never happen. So now you need to really focus on what you really want to become. That hurt me so badly as a child. So from 8th grade all the way up to my 11th grade year, I've never talked about wrestling to anybody outside of my wrestling nerd friends, but nothing out in the open for adults. 11th grade, set in English class. I had that PWI 500 tucked into my book. I'm checking out all the names, who's who. Dean Malenko's ranked up in the top. I'm like, yeah, it's good year. Sure enough, Diane Struby, substitute teacher, someone who I knew all my life, but I didn't know how cool she really was until this time. She walked up behind me. She sees the book. Is this year PWI 500? No, back in my head, I'm thinking like, one, oh shit, she saw me with the magazine. But two, I'm like also like, oh shit, how do you know about PWI? Like, like what? And she's like, yeah. And I'm thinking like, she's going to yank it from me. Like, no. She's like, check it out. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you a wrestling fan? She's like, it's in my family. And so after classes are over, I was like, what do you mean when it's in your family? And she's like, well, my son's a professional wrestler. Instant game changer. Because Vince was like, what? And yeah, her son was Big Daddy Rhodes in the state of Florida. And I was like, and it just clicked. It's like, say it to her. And I was like, I want to be in professional wrestling when I get older. I was like waiting for like her going like, "It will never just shoot your eye out, kid." No, she was like, you know what? You could probably do it. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and you're going to probably sacrifice a lot of your personal life. But if you're willing to do this, I can help you. So what she does, she writes down a phone number to a guy named Spike Moore, WCW Fire Plant graduate, best friends with her son. She hands me that phone number. She said, "This is Spike. You want to give him a call. He runs like a little wrestling school with my son." I said, okay. And of course, me at the time, 16, 17 years old, hands are already shaking. It's like, oh, I got like this number in my hand, golden ticket, Wonka Factory. And sure enough, I was like, it's almost like you find the hot chick, give you the phone number, and you're kind of thinking like, should I call her? No, don't seem desperate. 3 days from now, you got this. 2 days goes passing by. All of a sudden, I was like, pick up the phone. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Ring. big guy picks up the phone, Yeah, who is this? Shoo. Slam down the phone, hang up on him, right? Sure enough, he calls me back. And I was like, oh shit. Answer the phone. I was like, yeah. Sorry about that. Miss Shrewby, Diane Shrewby gave me your phone number. He's like, oh yeah, Diane gave it to you? Yeah. Or like, how old are you kidding? And I was like, instantly the dawning, like, oh shit. I was like 17. And he's like, yeah, you probably want to wait till you graduate high school. And I was like, okay. And it just dawned on me. This is something I like to teach guys when I talk to them at classes. I was like, do you need help with any shows? Like, do you need help like setting up or whatever? Yeah. You're willing to do that? Yeah. I was all right, cool. Come down to our show on Saturday. I'm there Saturday, and pretty much the rest is history. Now, I want to give you a little segue into with the whole impact thing and why. I hope I don't sound like I'm preaching something to anybody. It's nothing religious, but just I hope someone, if anybody's listening to this, let this be something to spark you for your dreams. So this year, I had my heart surgery done. And while I lay there in the hospital, I literally started contemplating my life. Not in a dark sort of way, but more of, I think my time's done with wrestling. I think I'm just going to retire, call it a day, walk away from it. I got this new lease in life, but I don't know what to do with it. And so a couple of weeks ago passing by, and I already tell my wife my idea. I'm like, I'm probably going to retire. I talked to Steve Arndt, our good friend, Steve.
Yep.
And I told Steve straight up before I let anybody know. I was like, I'm thinking about retiring, and I was thinking about, because me and Steve started when I first came back into the wrestling business. He was one of the first friends I've ever made. So I was like, Steve, I want to kind of give you this onto your show. Bring me on, and I'll announce it. Well, about a month goes passing by, and next thing I know, I'm getting all these phone calls from different promoters. We're seeing that you're announcing, you're commentating, all this stuff. We'd like to hire you. Next thing you know, I'm getting booked more and more and more and more places. And I'm like, yep. In the back of my head, I'm still thinking I want to be done. My whole plan was December was supposed to be my retirement. And sure enough, that's kind of fell through. And it's just been kind of weird. So a couple of weeks come passing by, and I see that Impact Wrestling's coming to town. And so kind of like you look at yourself in the mirror and go, you know what? It's either piss or get off the pot. You know what? I'm gonna go and take my shot. Either they're gonna say, hey, thanks for the application, no thanks, or they might, never tell. Sure enough, send in my information to the correct people. They're like, hey, it looks pretty impressive. You have a pretty good resume. But here comes that magical thing again. You hear the word but. Don't let that be the end of the story. Because always put your foot in the door. So I was like, okay, you already got Dave Pinzer. You already got all these amazing people working for you. Do you need help with your shows? Do you need help with production? Do you need help with the work that most guys are afraid of? Because I'm willing to do that to get my foot in the door with the company, to work with you guys. Instantly, they were like, you know what? Yeah, we do. Next thing I know, I got in contact with the right people, and I started doing some work with them, and it's just featured on national television, man, in a segment, which is like kind of like one of those weird pinch me mans, because I've always was an Impact Wrestling fan, or back in the days when it's called TNA, 2002. I remember when they first debuted in Birmingham, Alabama. I was still freshly out of high school, but it was like one of those companies I was like, one day I would like to work for that company. One day. Wow. One day was last month.
Dude, you work in the same company as Kushida, right?
Yeah.
Shit. God damn, dude. That's fucking crazy.
That's
awesome. That chance.
What a great story.
That's
So we're a little over an hour in and stuff, so we're gonna go straight to the finish here. I know Isaac's familiar with this. Obviously, Joey K's familiar with this because we've done this almost 99 times. I don't know when we started doing our final thoughts, but we like to do a little thing here, John, called Final Thoughts, where we each give one last thought before we end the show. And I want to start off just by again, thanking you for coming on and sharing your stuff with it, stories about Impact, and Isaac for hopping on and stuff. But my final thought this week is just going to be about I feel so lucky the last few weeks I've been able to spend a lot of time with, family, friends, and stuff. I've been hitting some baseball games. Went with a friend of mine up to Milwaukee a couple weeks ago. Then I just recently went with my two nephews this past Saturday. I haven't really done anything with them in quite a long time, and actually going to be going up in a few weeks because my one nephew's getting married and he wants to go up to Milwaukee to see a game for his bachelor party and stuff. And it's just been great being able to kind of reconnect and kind of re-strengthen a lot of bonds with some friends and family and stuff. And I got to spend some time with my son while I was on vacation from work last week and just get, and stuff. And it's just, I'm so blessed to have so many people in life that, I care about and who care about me. And you guys are all part of that and stuff. And it just, I'm eternally grateful for everyone in my life. So that's my final thought. Who wants to go next?
Well, you know what? I'll go next if you want me to. And I want to say two things. One, I actually owe Justin Credible an apology. Began the show making that wisecrack about methamphetamines. That was really bad taste to me, first and foremost. So he's owed an apology. That guy has actually been on a road to recovery for what I've seen. Good for him. He deserves it. Hopefully anybody's ever dealt with demons, it's never the easiest thing in the world. So first and foremost, I want to apologize to him for that. Hopefully he's on the right track in life. Two, you know what? The last couple of months has been kind of a Cinderella story. I don't know when the ball's going to end. Honestly, I'm just happy with the things that's been going on the last couple of months. Health has been feeling better. Great friends, great memories, things I'll definitely treasure for the rest of my life. Being here to talk with you guys tonight, honestly, is always a pleasure. I finally get to meet our good friend over here and finally have our talks. It's always good to see Joey, and shoot the shit with him. And DDJ, Dennis, you've been one of my best friends since we met. So absolutely, I give you the shirt off my back anytime you ever need it, man. Absolutely. You do the same for me. Yep. So I'm a truly blessed man in this life. So yeah, if anything, I hope my stories when I talk to people on social media, I hope it inspires people. Don't give up on your dreams, no matter how bad those roads look, no matter how dark stuff gets. It's okay. You're going to be okay. Just keep on trucking, and you will get where you need to be at in life.
Well said. Well said.
Hell yeah.
All right, Isaac.
I don't have anything that profound. I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and if you got a kid, go see that. If you are still a kid, go see it. It's a lot of fun. Oh
I'm hoping to go see it soon.
One of the best soundtracks of any movie I've ever seen in my life. If you're an old school East Coast hip hop fan, goddamn, dude. There's not many cartoons that have MF Doom on the soundtrack, and that made me happy. I saw Oppenheimer, that was good too. Definitely recommend. Yes. But general.
Did you go see Barbie yet?
Nah, I'm gonna see that once it comes out. I'm sorry. It's just everyone's into it, but I'm not spending money on that one. But yeah, general love and acceptance for everybody is my usual message. Do be the kind of person that Mr. Rogers would be proud of. That's all I got.
That's what it be, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that Mr. Rogers would be proud of, Joey K, bring us home.
Fucking Phillies took 2 out of 3 in the Nationals, baby. Michael Lorenz no-hitter last night. And
I saw the highlights of that.
Second start since getting him at the trade deadline against Detroit. And people are like, it's a nothing deal. Whatever. Why do we get this guy? Who cares? And he comes out, throws the 14th no-hitter in Phillies history last night. Super stoked about it. And the best part, he did it in fucking vans. Like, that takes you to a whole nother level in my book. And they're sending his. They have to be probably. I can't confirm, but they probably have to be the first pair of vans taken to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they gotta
be. I don't know who else would have vans that go there. So that's pretty fucking dope.
It's all cleats, it's all Nike cleats, man.
Yeah. So that's my final thought. Go Phils.
Go Phils. I miss baseball now that the A's have broken my heart and are moving to Vegas. Maybe I'll be a Phillies fan. That's a team that's a bunch of lovable losers.
You know what? And that's the thing.
And that's where the A's started.
It's so different now. It's so different now. Like Trey Turner on a 7-game hit streak right now. Just had a 2-run home run tonight, right? Normal Philly would have been like, yo, we can't believe we gave $300 million for this motherfucker. He's having the worst fucking season. But no, this new fucking 2023 era that we're in, they're like fucking like, no, man, we're rallying to give him a standing ovation. We're trying to motivate him at the plate. And he's now fucking going on a tear. He pays for a fucking billboard to thank the fans of Philly. Like, what? It's an absolute fucking love fest here right now.
Weird. That's weird.
It's such a weird vibe in this city. I don't know what's going to happen in football season. Actually, I do know what's going to happen in football season. That's where everything goes back to normal. Because we got to play fucking Dallas and Washington.
Fuck the Cowboys. Hey, speaking of Dallas, fuck the Cowboys. We got to get that in.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. No, always fuck them. But still, like, and the Giants. And then all the hate just oozes back to the surface. You know, hopefully Trey Turner will be back on his regular swing at that point because, you know, I don't know. It's just that summer Phillies love right now. It's happening. It's a beautiful thing.
It's wild. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. You deserve it.
All right. Well, again, thanks to Isaac and John for hopping on with us tonight and stuff. As always, Joey K, you the man, and stuff. So you're not you're our asshole, and you always will be our asshole. So
correct.
But next week, guys, is the big 100th episode spectacular, and hopefully we get something big planned for the show, possibly if everything comes together. So stay tuned on our Facebook page for details if it happens. If not, it'll be just more of the same old crazy ass bullshit that we put out every week.
Yeah, and just as to spoil the surprise, that big thing plan is just Javon pulling his hog out on camera.
Okay, well, you know what? I will be watching with bated breath and a fresh box of Kleenex.
This Texas cheesesteak.
Oh my god, dude! Oh my god, it's gonna be such a mess with the fucking AC off. Oh Jesus!
Oh god!
Why is the wall so sticky, son? Anyway. This ain't super glue.
Oh boy!
God damn, all right.
All right. On that note,
you want mayo for your burger?
Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna end the show now before it gets too out of hand. Good night, everybody.
Attention wrestling fans and fans of Shootin' Shit podcasts. You can now be one of the cool kids by going to ProWrestlingTees.com and buy the official Shootin' Shit t-shirt. Buy it now and be there at ringside.
Legends of the Ring Sting, man. This is a great figure, old school figure. Looks great. It's Sting! Old school Sting from WCW. Guys, you know us, 3/4 of the Shootin' Shit team, and we're here with a listener just like you guys. This is Jimmy from Super Powers Comics.
My friend of almost 20 years. He's known him since you were 12.
If you know people in Chicago, you probably know Dennis because he knows half the town, of course. But shooters, if you need action figures, comics, wrestling memorabilia, we just showed you Sting. Superpowers Comics will put up their QR code so you can get a good look at everything they have coming. Give it a shot, shooters. Get your superpowers on and get your comics from our friend Jimmy, who listens just like you.
Be sure to check us out on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@SHOOTINGSHT. Find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/groups/SHOOTINSHT. Check us out on TikTok at SHOOTINSHIT. And you can buy your official Shootin' Shit shirt at www.prowrestlingtees.com/SHOOTINSHT. And thanks for watching.